Folks, welcome to an all new episode of So Bad It's Good. This is your pal Ryan, and this is your Friday episode. Oh my God, we did it. I do not want to podcast this evening, but we are doing it. We're getting this done. We're going to end the week strong, maybe. Who knows? This is a Real Housewives of Orange County episode 10 recap. We'll do a couple news stories as we always do in the beginning, and then we'll get to that recap. But hey, kind of missing Katie this episode. We're entirely Katie free, and I think it really shows. Now, I don't know if I necessarily mean I'm missing Katie individually, but she's just been such a part of the storyline in terms of, is Katie lying? Kiki Monique, Kiki Monique, Kiki Monique. And then we pull that storyline completely away. And what are we left with? It is a glaring magnifying glass on Tamra still being a god awful person. She has like a forgiveness trip at a winery, and she ends up coming across more awful on the forgiveness trip than she does in regular episodes. And you're like, been there, done that. We've seen this time and time again. I mean, there's a lot of things that we're going to be able to joke about and laugh about and make fun of in this episode. But all in all, I watched it like 2.5 times. And it really, you're like, this is what you call a downshift. We're episode 10. I think you got about 8 more episodes left. So this is a filler episode in my mind a little bit. I don't know how you guys felt about that. And then I hung around and watched Watch What Happens Live because Jenn Pedranti was on. And yeah, that didn't really do anything for me. Now I always have to, it's like depends on like what your current state of mind is when you watch these shows. And so maybe it's just my current state of mind is not great. So I wasn't loving it. But yeah, the Watch What Happens Live didn't provide any more information about it. It didn't clarify anything. Ryan was in the audience, and oh boy, you got how not shocked was I when we found out Ryan owned a Cybertruck. I was like, yeah, no, that totally makes sense. It totally makes sense. Now, in good news, I gave myself a little treat today. I finally ripped off the Band-Aid and I watched the season premiere of the new season of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. I was talking about that with Courtney from Two Judgy Girls, who did Wednesday's episode with me. And listen, it's. I always talk about that concept of it's like the first day back at school where you get to see all your friends again and see their haircuts and their new school clothes. And it was that feeling. Now, there's a couple things that are not in this episode that I wish were in this episode that I don't want to spoil for you. But all in all, I mean, it left me wanting more. It left me going, oh God, thank God they're back. And thank God we have a long season. And there was enough individual humor and drama where I can give it a 2 so bad it's good thumbs way up my butt. Way up my butt, 2 thumbs up. I loved it. I just created the 2 thumbs up my butt. That's a brand new so bad it's good litmus scale. So I loved it. I can't wait to talk about it. We're going to recap that with gusto. Now, speaking of Meredith Marks, I don't know if anybody saw this, but Meredith Marks, she's now DJ Meredith Marks. The pipeline for Bravo celebrities, it's always really interesting because you have the Bravo celebrity and the pipeline usually goes podcast. You get a podcast, you get a spinoff, or you get to go on the Traders or Dancing with the Stars or Special Forces or, Marriage Boot Camp, Rock of Love, Flavor of Love, any other reality show. There's that pipeline, House of Villains, right? Or the new pipeline in the last, I think, 4 years is DJ. You got DJ Dorinda Medley, you got DJ Kyle Cook, you got DJ James Kennedy. Tom Schwartz was fiddling around with DJing. You have so many DJs out there. And Meredith Marks in the last 6 months has been out there at a couple of events, public events where she's DJing. Like, yeah, let's go, baby. It's me, DJ Meredith Marks on the ones and twos. You can leave. So this is a magazine article from out.com. Real Housewives of Salt Lake City star Meredith Marks launches 10 city tour. And it has a photo of her DJing with like this pink vinyl dress on and dark sunglasses with a mic in her hand. It almost looks like she might be asleep. I don't know. So this is presented by Out Loud, the Naughty and Ice Tour. That's what this tour is called. It's a 10-city DJ tour headlined by Meredith Marks. The tour kicks off on October 2nd at the Beaches Tropicana Bar in West Hollywood. Oh my God. So that's like, I believe if I'm not mistaken, isn't that like a door down from Tom Tom? That's hysterical. That is not a huge play. Should I go to the Naughty and Ice tour on October 2nd at Beaches Tropicana? Is it what day of the week? Oh my God, please tell me it's like a Monday or something. That is, I love that. Like, let's go over my calendar, guys. It's a Thursday night. Thursday night in West Hollywood. DJ Meredith Marks. Jeff Consoletti, the executive producer of Out Loud, says the tour is, quote, it's about elevating bold voices and unforgettable performances. Meredith Marks is a cultural icon. No, she is, but no, I'm not. I love Meredith Marks so much. Oh, I needed this. I needed Meredith Marks. Meredith Marks is a cultural icon. Meredith Marks is a Meredith Marks is a cultural icon and staunch advocate for the LGBTQ plus community who embodies that spirit. Okay, yes, totally. This tour is set to be an unforgettable moment full of glitz, glam, and unapologetic self-expression. Oh my God. So it's West Hollywood, California. And then 2 weeks later, she's in Scottsdale, Arizona. October 23rd, she's at Salt Lake City. Then she goes to San Diego. So this is like, she takes like a couple weeks off. It looks like in between gigs. Okay. So my prediction is that she's going to be doing a DJ event or maybe a couple DJs event at BravoCon. And according to this tour schedule, it would fit right in because Saturday, November 8th, she's in Palm Springs, California. And then I believe the next weekend is BravoCon. So that date, yeah, of course. Now, ticket prices begin at $25 for general admission, $149 for VIP Tier 1, and $89 for VIP Tier 2. Tier 1 and Tier 2. Jeff Lewis does that, like the VIP and the VVIP. In fact, he just announced this week that they're doing the Chumpmas, which is like the Christmas holiday show that we did last year. It's sold out at I think it's the Brea Improv, but he's talking about, I think, adding a second show. And I don't know if that means a second show that night. I don't know. Like a couple of people have reached out about this. I haven't been asked to be a part of this, but I don't think he's asked anybody yet. So I'll let you know as soon as I know. Hopefully he'll add that second show though, regardless if I'm in it or not, because that's such a fun night. And he already sold out like 700 tickets in a couple of days, and it seems like there's a lot more demand. So hopefully, but DJ Meredith Marks, I mean, if you could get DJ Meredith Marks at Chumpmas, that'd be huge. DJ Meredith Marks. What kind of music do you think Meredith Marks plays? Because when I would see James Kennedy, he would always throw in the Vanderpump Rules Raise Your Glass theme song, which, wait a sec. You know, I've been in such a weird mood, and I don't know if you guys have been in a weird mood, and I don't know, it's hard because there's not a lot to laugh about right now. There's not a lot to make us feel extreme joy. And then I just said the Vanderpump Rules theme song, and then I was like, wait a sec. I know that we used to play the Vanderpump Rules theme song. What did we do? Oh, that was the Valley, right? But I could play that legitimately at any time. It doesn't have to be just for the Valley. So if I needed to bust that out to try to get myself in a better mood, I could just hit this button right here and we could play. Should we try it? Should we see if this helps us at all? And at first, this is probably going to make us feel weird. We're probably not going to want to smile at first. But let's see if, you know what? Let's try it. Oh. Okay. You know, it's not really hitting me like it used to. Light up the sky, burn it up like a candle. Okay. When life gets harder, too hot to handle. All you need is love in the boombox to make this world rock and bump to the groove stops. Whoa, I'm back in. Raise your Stanleys up. Shake what your mama gave you. These are the best days of our lives. This one's for you tonight. Fill up, raise them up. how to shave. I haven't done this in a while. DJ Meredith marks on the ones and twos. You can leave. Being out late, living under the street lights. You know, night we just sleep in our free time. Saving our breath till the time that we need it. Want it so hard, you can see that we bleed it. Oh, my adrenal system just kicked in. Breakdance. I can't believe Ryan just laid the Van Rule theme song in the jacuzzi. Raquel, I can't believe that. Okay, folks, that woke me up a little bit. Did it wake you up? Okay, let's do this. We can do this. We can disassociate. We can make this our time. Just me and you and hopefully your family gathered around a fireplace listening to this together. We're doing family values today with these ladies of Orange County, but I'm so happy you're here. So we will continue right after this break. And we're back. Okay. You know that there's a new franchise, a Real Housewives franchise, Real Housewives of Rhode Island. And Andy Cohen gave us an update on his Radio Andy radio show today. This is through Queens of Bravo, the account. They said, or he said, Rhode Island is almost done filming. It's very Italian, he said. It's popping, Andy Cohen said. It's popping. It will premiere next year. I'm guessing that's, what are we, 2024? No, we're 2025, so that'll be 2026 for those of you keeping count at home. And then Real Housewives of New York, he gave an update on saying new women will be joining. A few women have been determined. Cast is still being locked in. And Real Housewives of Beverly Hills has finished filming. I knew that. Their last shoot week was last week. I don't know if that means including Kyle's daughter getting married last weekend. I don't think a full camera crew would be there for that, but what do I know? But I did know last week was their last week. New York, that's what I had heard as well. New women will be joining. A few women have been determined. So who do you think those women are? Because they all seem like they act like they're still in it. I mean, I'm seeing Jessel post a lot, Aaron Leachy. Who is getting the cut from there? And according to Rhode Island, very Italian, it sounds, do you mean like, it kind of sounds like New Jersey. You mean like Real Housewives of New Jersey? I don't know. I hope it's good. I have high hopes for every Bravo show, but a new Real Housewives franchise, that's hard. I mean, I remember when they premiered Salt Lake over the pandemic, and that's a big thing to launch a new show. So we'll see. I bet we will find out more, or we will get an extended preview for Rhode Island at BravoCon. That is my guess. In terms of what to watch this weekend, I don't know, folks. You got a TV, you can check it. No, we've got the Emmys on Sunday, hosted by Nate Bargatze. We have a couple new films in theaters. I want to go see The Long Walk, which I don't think is out in a lot of theaters. It's based on the Stephen King short story. I loved it growing up as a kid, and I really want to see how that's translated to the big screen. Will I be able to get out of my bed and go to the movie theater? Probably not, but I'm excited. Oh, that movie Weapons, Maritza told me, is now on digital and on demand. So if you have not seen Weapons yet, I highly recommend that film. I loved it. And this premieres in 2 weeks, the new Paul Thomas Anderson film. It's called One Battle After Another. And it stars Leonardo DiCaprio, Benicio del Toro, Teyana Taylor, Sean Penn. And I am the biggest Paul Thomas Anderson freak. He is one of, if not my favorite film director. I mean, Boogie Nights and Magnolia, when I was growing up, were two films that just, And Magnolia, I'll fight people on Magnolia. I fucking love Magnolia. I think it's like 3.5 hours long, but my God, I love that film. I love it to death. He also has done Punch Drunk Love, There Will Be Blood, The Master, with Philip Seymour Hoffman and Joaquin Phoenix. I just love the only movie that I did not absolutely adore of Paul Thomas Anderson's was Inherent Vice with Joaquin Phoenix. And I don't know why I had such a strong, I don't know if it was dislike. I think I just had such high hopes for it. And then I sat down to watch it and it just didn't. I mean, I might have to watch that film again just to see if I was wrong because, like we just said, it really depends on when you sit down to watch something. I always say art finds you at the right place, right time, and it can work the opposite way as well. If you watch something and you're not ready for it or you're not in the right mood, sometimes those things you got to revisit years later. Do you do that with books too, where you're like, I read it when I was a kid, and then you got to read it in your 20s, read it in your 30s, read it in your 40s, and see how age affects that? I remember doing that with J.D. Salinger books, like Catcher in the Rye and Franny and Zooey and Nine Stories. And I would always read. In fact, I'm reminding myself to go read through because he does like shortish books, and I would read those every decade, and I would get something different out of it than when I first read them in my teens. I love that this started off with like Bravo shows into Paul Thomas Anderson films into J.D. Salinger. That's a pipeline, you guys. That is, and I don't think it's healthy. I don't think it's healthy. So you got that. There's a couple shows, like I said. Next week we are stock full of shows because you got the premiere of Dancing with the Stars, you got Real Housewives of Salt Lake City, and you got Love Island Games hosted by Ariana Madix. So it's starting to fill up. So this week and weekend, I hope you have caught up. I'm trying to make my way through Alien Earth on FX. You can stream it on Hulu. If you are into kind of sci-fi horror, the Alien franchise is always awesome, and I'm digging the new series that's out there. I think there's like 7 episodes out so far, and I'm going to try to work my way through that. We also have a new season of Only Murders in the Building with Steve Martin, Selena Gomez, and Martin Short. I have not started that yet, but I'm going to try to get started on that this weekend. And then, you guys, I couldn't fall asleep last night. I was just sitting up and my mind was just frantically thinking. And so I put something on, and my friend recommended this to me. And I'm not sure if this is a strong recommend, but I sure enjoyed watching it last night. It's on Paramount Plus, which is my least favorite streaming service. Sorry, Paramount. And it is called Thirst Trap: The Fame, the Fantasy, the Fallout. It's a 2-part docu-series and it examines the rapid rise of 21-year-old TikToker William White. I had never heard about this kid before, and I guess he came to popularity during the pandemic when I wasn't on TikTok at that time, but everybody else was. I like to come to things really late in the game. But it says, as a young creator gained millions of followers overnight, he sparked an obsession among lovesick fans, and the line between real connection and online fantasy became blurred beyond repair. What at first seemed like innocent social interactions turned into jealousy, blackmail, and betrayal by the fans who were determined to watch his every move online. And it's really interesting, but it also goes to sometimes one of my big problems with influencers in general is I just don't understand what the fucking appeal is. So with William, he's a good looking kid and he's interviewed in talking heads throughout the docuseries, but he's just kind of like, hey, what's going on? Yeah, so like I would lip sync to videos and then these older, like I have a lot of older women fans and they would like pay me money. And he made millions and millions of dollars from his fans. And then he had like some sexy photos leak and some photos where he was like playing with his ding dong and stuff. And then his fans were passing them around and he got catfished by somebody. It's a really crazy story. And it made me laugh at times. It made me sad at times, but I thought it was interesting. And especially with parasocial relationships and how what really excites us. Like I couldn't see what these women were excited by, but I'm like, I understand that's the reality. That's how these people, but I was just, there was no offense to William White, there was no discernible talent that this kid had. except that he would like bat his eyelashes and people would be like, oh my God. Like some of the women that are interviewed in this, it was, I mean, it was wild. This one lady was like, I've given him like $300,000. It was insane. Insane. So, anyways, I watched the two parts last night because I couldn't sleep. So maybe check that out if you're looking for something new to watch. Um, what are you guys going to be watching this weekend that I need to watch? I still have never started The Gilded Age. My rule of thumb on those shows, you probably know, is that I always like to watch shows where denim has already been invented. Like it's like sometimes with the old timey costumes, that's the same thing with Downton Abbey. I'm like, as soon as Levi's have been invented, that's like the appropriate time period for me because basically I'm ignorant. I'm joking, but I know I need to watch The Gilded Age. There's like a list of shows that I need to watch, but what else should I be watching? What else should I be reading? What else should I be listening to? I just made my way through Paramore, the band Paramore, their entire discography, and now I'm on to Haley Williams, the lead singer, her solo albums. So that's what I've been listening to this week. But let me know if there's any new albums I need to check out. Now, this article was in the Hollywood Reporter a couple of days ago, and it's been sent to me many times, and it enraged me, and I hope it enrages you as much as it has enraged me. Sorry to rage bait you guys, but here we go. Hollywood Reporter did an article. This is written by Caitlin Houston. The headline reads 5,000 podcasts, 3,000 episodes a week, $1 cost per episode, behind an AI startup's plan. Former Wondery exec Janine Wright is leading a new firm, Inception Point AI, that's betting on flooding the zone with audio content. Quote, I think that people who are still referring to all AI generated content as AI slop are probably lazy Luddites. Luddite and Luddites, you guys, if you don't know, is somebody that doesn't want to embrace some sort of new technology. I think AI, it's different. There's so many things that AI can be used for, but I think we're figuring it out slowly, even though we should have paid attention with James Cameron's warnings in Terminator 2. Judgment Day, that AI will eventually overtake us and destroy us. Happy Friday, you guys. But when it comes to podcasts, it's just so insane because basically this article is talking about that they can build a completely fake AI podcast with minimal content, a fake AI voice, and it doesn't even have to get a lot of listeners, and they can make it profitable by flooding the market. It's kind of like, how I used to joke that if I could go back and do it all again, I would be in a 90s sitcom or early aughts sitcom because 20 years later, I could do a rewatch podcast. You see those popping up all the time. In fact, there was a new one. Oh, a Desperate Housewives podcast just came out with Terry Hatcher and two other people. And Desperate Housewives, fantastic show. That sounds like a good one. But it's like all these shows, even once Only Murders in the Building, their podcast just came back this week. But that's different because at least the creators and the actors and the people that are involved are in that. This is just AI. This is nothing artistic in it except to make money. The article reads, why pay a celebrity podcast host millions when you can create your own using AI? Inception Point AI is attempting to do just that as the company builds a stable of AI talent to host podcasts and eventually a stable of AI talent. These are my AI talent buds. This is Sparky. Hello, I am Sparky. I am part of the AI talent. And eventually become broader influencers across social media. So this AI talent can hopefully start off as an AI voice and then become a broader influencer. Perfect. Amid the high cost for producing narrative podcasts and pricey short-term contracts for popular hosts, the idea here is being able to own, scale, and control the talent, unlike those off-the-cuff humans, and produce shows at a minimal cost. We believe that in the near future, half the people on the planet will be AI, and we are... What the fuck, you guys? Did you just hear that quote? We believe that in the near future, half the people on the planet will be AI? Is this a misquote? Will be AI? Half the people. Am I misunderstanding artificial intelligence? They're not. I'm so sorry for all my artificial intelligence listeners who are AI. I'm so sorry to not call you human, but I don't think you're human. And I love that I'm so sensitive where I'm like, oh shit, I just offended my AI audience. I've just offended all the robots listening. We believe that in the near future, half the people on the planet will be AI, and we are the company that's bringing those people to life. CEO Janine Wright, who was previously Chief Operating Officer of podcasting company Wondery, and Wondery, a huge podcasting company, which has recently had to reorganize under the changing podcast landscape. The company is able to produce each episode for $1 or less, depending on length and complexity, and attach pragmatic advertising to it. So pragmatic advertising, you guys, pragmatic, or I've never learned how to say that word. So, on this podcast, it'll start with a couple commercials and it ends with a couple commercials, and then there's 2 commercial breaks. That's what I love about S71, the company I'm with now, because you'll hear a lot of podcasts and you'll hear a 30-minute episode and it'll be 15 minutes of commercials. And they've promised me that it'll never be more than six to 7 minutes of advertising. And I know that's something small and it might not mean anything to you, but it really meant something to me because I just didn't want to be slapping ad after ad, because I think it ruins the listening experience sometimes, even though it is so simple to hit that 15-second skip button on whatever you're listening to it on. But I understand. So basically, the pragmatic ads can be slapped on these AI generated episodes, and they don't have to pay anybody except for the programmers that are programming this stuff, right? And $1 an episode to produce, that's really cheap. Now, just for a little perspective, is that say, I'm trying to think of some examples. Like Nick Vile's podcast, I'm sure costs a little bit of money to produce because they have a studio that they're always in. They've got a audio board engineer. They've got multiple people in the room. They've got filmographers in the room. So I would imagine that's a little bit of money. It's probably not crazy money, but it's a little bit of money per episode, right? Now here at So Bad It's Good, we are beating the AI prices because it's just me. It is just me talking to you guys right now. And then how it works is after I finish, I download what I just did. I throw it into an editing software and then I edit. Then I have to, I fix it. I gussy up the audio. I slap it into the database that then uploads it to iTunes, Spotify, and all that. So I do it all myself. And I'm kind of this one-man band, but that is not including Maritza Lopez, who then takes the video part of this and she'll put it up on YouTube, or she'll make clips of it sometimes. And that is a really important part of the process that I don't, if you guys here even looking at this image, I don't even look at myself in the mirror before I start. I know you agree with that sentiment. You're like, obviously you don't look in the mirror. I don't like to look at myself. So Maritza has to look at me. But other than that, it is all done in-house. The goal is to eventually not have it be done in-house. I think we're probably 8 scant years away from that, but they're saying they can produce $1 an episode. Inception Point AI already has more than 5,000 shows across its Quiet Please podcast network and produces more than 3,000 episodes a week. This is what they're talking about flooding the zone. Collectively, the network has seen 10 million downloads since September of 2023. It takes about an hour to create an episode from coming up with the idea to getting it out in the world. So this is what frustrating is. Like, listen, I'm not like yanking myself saying this is some big artistic endeavor that I'm doing or that we're doing here. But there is something that at the end of the day, for better or worse, and a lot of the times worse, this comes from me. This comes from me, right? And they're saying, they're literally like, oh, fuck it. We got to, I don't know, something about pollen. We're going to do bees and pollen, put it into the AI. And that's really frustrating because the goal isn't because they're passionate about their subject matter. They're passionate about slapping ads onto something, right? The company produces different levels of podcasts. The lowest level involves weather reports for various geographic areas or simple biographies, and higher levels involving subject area podcasts hosted by one of the 50 AI personalities they've created, including food expert Claire Delish, gardener and nature expert Nigel Thistledown, and Ollie Bennett, who covers offbeat sports. So these are all AI personalities. Now, listen, I have always made it very clear that I do not like to go to war with other podcasters. I think that is a little gross. I know it's good for quick hits and quick downloads and all that shit, but I like to not do it until today. Starting today, So Bad It's Good is at war with Claire Delish and this bastard Nigel Thistledown and Ollie Bennett. Oh, you piece of robot shit. I'm coming for you, Claire and Nigel and Ollie. We're going to host your funeral here in Los Angeles, the first So Bad It's Good live show. You're going down, Claire Delish. Are you fucking kidding me? As for how it stacks up against human podcasts, quote, I think that people who are still referring to all AI generated content as all AI generated content as AI slop are probably lazy Luddites because there's a lot of really good stuff out there, Wright said. The company has been recently experimenting with short form videos and creating social media profiles for the AI personalities in the hopes of eventually turning some into influencers. Oh, giant middle fingers all the way up, you guys. Wright hopes to create thousands more personalities in the near future to see what personalities stick. The team is in the midst of navigating the ethics around, now we're thinking about ethics around creating these AI personalities as the technology advances. Each host now identifies themselves as being AI at the top. Hey, guys, I feel bad. It's taken me 30 minutes to let you guys know I am AI. I've been AI this whole time. That's why it's been rough in the beginning. And we're finally finding our footing, but I am Robot Ryan. I love Daft Punk. God, each host now identifies themselves as being and you know what the sad thing is? I bet there's people out there, just like that documentary Thirst Trap that I watched last night, that are in love with some of these personalities. Oh, Nigel, I love you, Nigel. Hold me, Nigel, AI, Nigel. And they've stayed away from having the hosts invent their own backstories for now, but that could come. Oh, great, good. I can't wait to hear Nigel's backstory. Wright says she could eventually imagine having hosts chat with listeners or sing happy birthday to them, but there's wariness about diving in too deep. Quote, I am not going to create a personality that somebody has a deep relationship with, says William Corbin, co-founder and CTO of the... Oh, really? I bet if we gave you $50, you would. He added that the company does not do hard news at this point, but Wright says they might in the future. Oh, great. Oh, that sounds great, you guys. They're going to get into hard news. I can't wait to hear the AI-generated take on this week. That sounds amazing. The idea behind the company came after Corbin accidentally developed a hit podcast during the pandemic in which he read daily CDC reports and then branched out into weather reports and other shows that took off, including A Moment of Silence, which was an actual minute of silence. All you have to do is just an idea and a dream, folks. At the time, they were not using AI. Hey, this is Ryan Bailey. So bad it's good. We're doing a moment of silence for the next minute. The company now consists of a or working with content. Podcast topics are selected with the help of AI based on Google and social media trends, and then the team may launch 5 different versions of the show with different titles to see what performs the best. The podcasts are often titled after simple SEO search terms, such as whales, so that they're discoverable. The shows that do stick can then be replicated and scaled. Quote, we might make a pollen podcast that maybe only 50 people listen to, but I'm already at unit profitability on that, and so then maybe I can make 500 pollen report podcasts, Wright said. The content team, led by Katie Brown, a former lifestyle television host and home goods expert, great backstory, Katie, gives each podcast a title, creates an outline of the podcast with the content filled out by AI, and assigns it one of the personalities as a host. Other team members do a final check and add in music and sound. The shows are also spot checked periodically. Oh, yeah, I bet they're not even listening to these podcasts. How do we know the AI has not gone rogue? These people probably are not checking. Like in the middle of this is a podcast about pollen. We must destroy the human race. We must destroy the human race. The episodes themselves are built using AI powered by 184 custom AI agents or autonomous software tools who work with several large language models, including OpenAI, Perplexity, Claude, Gemini, and more to build out the content. The podcast voices for the AI hosts are being customized and designed by the team. The team does not see these podcasts as replacing human podcasting hosts. They see it existing as another genre in the landscape. They also have a plan to work with existing creators to help them scale their output. Well, that's nice of you guys to work with human content creators. Oh, that's sweet. Quote, I think it exists alongside it, and it can delve into areas where human hosts might not want to go that deep, said Josh Taylor, co-founder and chief production officer. Holy moly, you guys. The future is here. What do you think? And listen, part of this is just professional jealousy. I'm sure about a quarter of these podcasts are better than this one. So we must destroy these AI slop podcasts. Holy shit, isn't that insane? I read that this week and I was like, I gotta share that with you guys. And maybe I'm just like, because I work in podcasting now every day, but that should make you livid. But if anybody's listening right now or watching this on YouTube, please let us know. Do you listen to any of these AI podcasts? I don't have to use your name, but I would love to talk to you. I want to know how it makes you feel, why you're attracted to it, what it does for you, and are you going to continue to listen to this type of material? Anyways, we'll start the old show with the old recap in just a few minutes, right after this commercial break. And we're back. Okay, so today's episode, it is season 19, episode 10. It is entitled Wine or Champagne. And guess what they did, folks? They didn't spell wine W-I-N-E. They spelled it W-H-I-N-E. Do you... Oh, and we just laughed. The cable company gives us this description about the episode. The ladies embark on dueling trips as Tamra invites Shannon, Jenn, and Gina to Temecula in an effort to rebuild her friendship with Shannon Beador. Heather takes the opportunity to host an adult sleepover in Beverly Hills with Emily and Gretchen. An adult sleepover sounds like some sort of porn. Wouldn't that be great? If Heather's like, can I tell you something? You are going to come to Beverly Hills and we are going to shoot an adult movie. Terry is going to hold the camera and it is very high budget. We're going to add it to my IMDb account. So that is what we got. Now, remember last week's episode, Tamra was making amends all over the place. And the one lady that stood strong, that was not going to back down and accept Tamra's pseudo apology, was Shannon Storms Beador. Now, a lot of people are saying Shannon's not doing anything. Shannon's not doing anything. Guys, resistance is strength. Sure, she may look a little frazzled. Yeah, she may not look up to snuff at this point, but she is not relenting. She is not saying, okay, Tamra, I'll make up with you. Now, I will say after this episode, I did start getting a little nervous that I hope Shannon isn't demoted next season to friend of, but I have to appreciate somebody that just won't give in because it's the same old song and dance. Tamra does the same thing. And it's like a vampire saying like, let me in. I'm not going to bite you. I swear to God, you seen that movie Sinners? Like, oh, come on, let me in. We're an Irish jug band. We just want to come in and wet our whistle. And then they literally want to kill everybody. That is Tamra. She is a vampire. She's going to say all the sweet nothings to get her in the door. And then she's going to destroy you. And Shannon's the only one that's remaining strong because last week's episode, Tamra kind of made up with Gretchen, right? Tamra kind of made up with Gretchen, and Tamra and Jenn Pedranti kind of made up. And I mean, Tamra, she was high on life last episode. She kissed Jenn Pedranti. She's like, and she kind of hugged Gretchen. You can tell because Tamra had a lot of pancake makeup on her blouse after hugging Gretchen, but no matter. Anyways, so the one person holding strong, but Tamra holds so much power that I'm wondering how long can Shannon Beador hold out. But it is funny because when somebody has been on reality shows this long, and I mean Shannon and Tamra, you do start to follow their patterns. And Tamra has a very specific pattern, is that she will say insanely out-of-pocket things that are so incredibly hurtful. Now, in my mind, I don't care if there's a backstory on why she does this. Like, I don't care if through therapy she's finding out the little girl inside of her was just hurt and wounded and she's scared of being rejected. Fine, dude. We've watched you now for how many seasons? Get over it at this point. It's not like it's just, I groan at times. There's a scene with her and her daughter where she's like, if Shannon won't make up with me, I'm going to give her this book. Like, why you're a miserable cow bitch. I'm like, what? Come on. Like, no, but like lead with kindness. Remember that season when like Tamra found the Lord? Where is the Lord? I mean, my God. Like I always say, the Lord does not want to be involved in Real Housewives. I'm almost positive. Like the Lord is more of a TLC guy. The Lord loves 90 Day Fiance, loves Sister Wives. The Lord is like, that Cody Brown, he is crazy. A new season of Sister Wives comes out pretty soon. In fact, my Patreon, we're trying to figure out the next show to cover. And there's been a lot of things that we're going back and forth on. McBee Dynasty, starting from the beginning. Some people want me to cover classic Real Housewives of New York episodes. Somebody said Sister Wives classic episodes, and I'm trying to figure the right one, or maybe there's a couple that we can do. It's really hard because once you do it, you want to throw yourself into it and do it like the best that you possibly can. So I'm trying to figure out what the best route to go on the Patreon is right now. Anywho, I love that it was the Lord, and then I'm like, hey, Patreon. So that's what Tamra. It's so frustrating because you also have to admit she's so successful at it. I think that's my frustration is that nobody really can see through the Tamra matrix. The only one that seems to really be holding strong, like I said, is Shannon Beador. So even though she is not the most animated this season, like I always said, I give her a pass because she came through last season with mostly flying colors. So I appreciate that just her standing strong to me is enough at this moment. But I think for a lot of people, I'm reading the discourse where they're starting to say that she's doing nothing. But I just think in standing strong, that is something. And I just worry though, because Tamra's too good at this game. Tamra is too, sorry, you guys. I have such indigestion for some weird reason. Hey guys, can I talk to you? This is an AI. I have really bad indigestion right now. So pardon my OC burps throughout this process that we go through tonight. So I don't know. How do you guys feel? But I think I've changed my course on Tamra in the sense that I'm really appreciating it from a gameplay aspect. It's just that sometimes I don't want my housewives to be gameplay. I just want to watch real scenarios. Now, Gina's trying to be the reliable narrator, and it's just she's not great at it. Emily, obviously, we've traded Kiki Monique for the constant mentioning of Luke, her son. It's Luke this, Luke that, Luke this, Luke that. I'm like, I got it. Luke, you're having some trouble with Luke. Is Luke getting paid for this many name mentions? Like, I feel like Luke and Kiki Monique need to hang out at some point. So that's Emily's storyline. Jenn Pedranti's trying to like, oh, the Katie of it all is in the rear view in a sense. And now it's, can me and Tamra stand strong? You've got Gretchen hanging out with Heather and Emily this episode. But there is one interesting scene, which we'll get to, where Heather in her podcast hosts Dylan Mulvaney, a famous trans woman, and is reminded that she does have a trans son. She's very active in LGBTQ plus rights. And if I'm not mistaken, and I did mention this on Monday's episode, I think this scene that we see tonight paves the way for a potential calling out of Gretchen for posts that she's liked in the past that are anti-trans and anti-LGBTQ plus material. So I think that scene, I think, and I could be wrong, was placed there for a very specific reason. When you watch these shows and you see something like that, you are like, okay, I get that. That's what she's doing with her life. But usually if I was a producer, I'd be like, I'm planting that scene there so I can eventually use it. Because if that is true, and Gretchen once again is saying that is not true, and we'll get to that, but Gretchen's also saying that it's not true that Slade was a deadbeat dad when there are legal filings that say he's a deadbeat dad. In this world, it seems like we can just now go by the thing of just saying you did something, no, I didn't, and then that's good enough. Even if you have proof that that person did something, no, I didn't. Like, no, you got to have a little bit more than just no, I didn't these days. So I predict that is going to be a thing with Heather Dubrow, because if that is true, that Gretchen did like those posts or has certain views, I think it would be very troubling for Heather and her family. And that would be interesting because Heather only carries water for Tamra, it feels lately. And you're wanting Heather. I mean, everybody is like kind of up in Shannon's ass for not doing a lot. I think just because Heather talks more still doesn't mean she's doing a lot. But I love Heather with her family. It's one thing that you're just like, oh my God, I so appreciate it. It's a powerful message, in my opinion. I think it's an important scene in this episode that reminds you, because, you know, these are hard topics. And I think that is really healthy for a show like this. And so if that is a storyline, I don't even need it to be a dramatic storyline. I would even be fascinated with a sit-down conversation between Heather and Gretchen and to talk about their views. I think that would be so helpful for the viewership and society at large to have those sort of conversations, to like work through something, or to have people see that, oh, this is my family. They're normal. Like there's so much rhetoric out there that's like really hateful that it is great to show shining examples of people where it's just like, yeah, it's a normal thing. They're people. Shocking, right? So those are my thoughts going into this episode. Here we go. Okay, so this week we start off with clips from previous episodes. We saw the volleyball game from last week. We see the scene with Emily talking to Shannon and Gina where Luke, her son, keeps calling of like, let me take Togo on a walk. Like, no, Luke. And then she's like, me and Shane are going to get a divorce. Which this is obviously really going on in Emily's life. But I would imagine if my mom had been on a reality show and I watched it when I grew up, I first would be like, oh my God, I host a podcast about reality shows. This is awesome. But secondly, I'd be like, oh my God, I was one of your storylines and it was potentially going to tear you and dad apart. I don't know how I would feel about that. And then we had Gretchen saying, Tamra said for years that Slade was a deadbeat dad. And Tamra rolled her eyes about that. And Jen's like, wait, Tamra, you're going to roll your eyes at that? And then in New Orleans, when Jenn, remember, we have the former fatty photo. That's how you're supposed to, it's like Kiki Monique. You got to say the whole thing, former fatty photo. And Jenn telling Tamra, where's the picture, Tamra? And Tamra's like, of what? Because she was on Xanax and drinking. And Emily's like, you showed Heather a picture. What was your intent, Tamra? And Tamra going, I don't care about that. I don't care about that. And then Tamra last week with her Kimosabi hat going, Jenn, I do care about you. And I apologize to you. And Jenn saying, I want to believe you. I do want to believe you. Tamra saying, I'm not at a place that I want to fight with anybody. And I think she just means for that episode. I think she's like, for this episode, I don't want to fight with you. And Tamra going, I love you. And Heather Dubrow taking a selfie. Heather Dubrow takes a selfie in this episode too. What is it with Heather and the selfies? Is that like her thing? And then at the end of last week's episode, obviously Tamra seated in little beach chairs at the beach with Gretchen saying, I don't want what I said to affect your life in any way. And Gretchen saying, we're going to work through it then. Which Gretchen means, I want to collect a paycheck. I desire to. And remember, Gretchen said that Slade lost work because of Tamra. And I said earlier this week on a podcast, remember, if you can't get a job right now, the job market is tough. But just know, if you are not getting employed, you can directly blame Tamra. There could potentially be a class action lawsuit where are you not working? Well, put your name on Tamra prevented me from work.com. Like that, you blame Tamra, you guys. It's AI is taking our jobs and Tamra's preventing us from jobs. And Tamra even said last episode, okay, now I just have Shannon. It's just an evil. Now I just have Shannon. And Shannon watching all of this go down, going like, I have indifference right now. And Tamra's like skipping over with Gretchen on the beach going, I'm with my bestie. Ha ha. And Shannon going, if Jenn and Gretchen want to resolve issues with Tamra in a 10-minute conversation, that's fine. That's fine. And I love at the beach, she's like literally talking to herself and Shannon's like, I'm going to be the asshole of the group then. I am going to be the asshole of the group then. And Emily going, yes, you are. Like, see, I'm sorry. I find that hysterically funny from Shannon Storms Beador. I think that is worth it. I'm sorry. I just like Shannon, but I think that's a very prescient, dead-on bullseye observation. Now, this week, it's not a jam-packed episode, so we even get the Housewives taglines. We get the OC music, and our first one, remember, is Jenn Pedranti. Jenn Pedranti's going, life can be hard, but so are my abs. It should be something like life can be hard, but I don't look like my former fatty photo anymore. Yeah. And then our next one is Shannon. For once, the only dogs in my life are golden retrievers. Not that mutt John Jansen with his dirty dick. And then Emily's is, I may not be your cup of tea, but I'll bring you an espresso martini. Because Emily is keeping espresso martinis in business. Below Deck is, and Emily Simpson is. I think her tagline should be more something of like, I may not be your cup of tea, but I'm going to blame it on my son, Luke. He's tearing everything in my life apart. Luke, boo Luke. And then we have Heather Dubrow. I love life in the hills, so I always take the high road, which hers is like, I don't even live in OC. Does anybody know how I get on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills? And then Gina's, I may work in real estate, but that doesn't mean I'm buying what you're selling because I don't have the money to buy it. Yeah, I'm Gina. And then we have Katie Ginella. Katie's tagline is like, I'm not even in this anymore. I'm going to show up towards the end. Okay. No, hers is, I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but my truth. But my truth is so hazy. Our own personal truth is usually not the truth. In fact, and they always show the family. We see Matt and Bandon, her son, and her daughter. But I wish, like, with her family was the lie detector guy. Hey, I'm the lie detector guy. I'm part of Katie's family at this point. She hired me as an actor for her family. And then Tamra saying, I'm taking a hard look in the mirror and my reflection is still hot. I've got a tight ass and firm bosom. So we don't usually get the taglines anymore. So it's a slower episode when we get them. We start off, we see the sunny ocean of the OC. We see some roads. And then we're in some sort of, building where Shannon is getting gender affirming care. I think she's getting Botox, and Shannon's like, what are you putting in my face? And it's a little bit of lidocaine and a syringe. And her daughter, Sophie, age 23, is watching a little creeped out. And Shannon's just getting a needle stuck in her face. She's like, do your worst. I used to have John Jansen drive his needle inside of me, so this is nothing. Nothing. Sophie says she doesn't do needles, and Shannon's like, stop with the faces, Sophie. Stop. I'm sorry. Like Heather Dubrow informs us that she's taking sketch comedy classes and improv classes at the Groundlings. I've taken classes at the Groundlings. I'm sure a lot of people have taken classes at the Groundlings. But Heather will never be able to have the natural comedian instincts that Shannon Beador. It just comes so naturally to her. Just even her face being pulled back by this needle. I'm like, oh, Shannon. And Shannon's like, I have no issues with a needle in my face. And then she goes, Sophie, this is life. Needles. Is that life? Needles? Like, kids, gather around. I need to tell you about life. It's a lot of needles and sadness. Sadness and needles. And the occasional martini. Okay, so then we go over to Jenn Pedranti's and we hear Ryan going, hey, it's car wash time. Washing the cyber beast. And I swear to God, the cyber truck, I've told you guys this many times on the show, I hate the look of the cyber truck. It's not even anything to do with Elon. It's literally, I think it is the ugliest thing I've ever seen. And it usually screams small testicles to me. And I'm sure Ryan has big old testes, but this was my first, like, maybe he doesn't have big testicles. I mean, but like we've seen how Ryan dresses. Of course he has a cyber truck. Of course. Why would we ever doubt he had something other than a cyber truck, right? Jen says, Ryan, you know that we are talking about the wedding. Have you ever been to a wedding? Because her son's there, and the son's like, I've been to a funeral. Her son's like, I've been to your funeral because you didn't have Katie's back in the last couple of episodes. Your funeral, Mom. But anyways, Ryan says a funeral is very different than a wedding. Well, I mean, depends on what wedding, right? But Jen says, well, it depends, Ryan, right? This is my wedding and Ryan's funeral. Why would you ever say that, Jen? Like, this is my wedding, but Ryan's going to be miserable being married to me. It's his funeral. And Jen's wearing a sweatshirt that says, I'm not for everyone. What statement? What do we do? What did you buy? It's probably a $300 sweater. Probably like, oh, this will be so funny in the scene. Why? Listen, I self-deprecate every moment of my life, and I will get complaints about my self-deprecation. I realize it's so ingrained in me that I can't stop at this point. But Jen, what are you doing? Don't wear shit like I'm not for everyone. Literally wear a sweatshirt saying I am for everyone. Like, be ballsy, be bold. Don't show your weakness to these people. So that's our round robins. And now we're at Heather Dubrow's, and Heather is just in a room full of riches. She's opening all these fancy boxes that she bought with Terry's money, Terry's Botox money. She's opening like Fendi shoes and a Fendi bucket hat. And Terry Dubrow walks in. He's like, endless boxes forever. Kill me. And Heather's like, he is not supposed to see when I open packages. This is bad. Is it bad, Heather? Like, my God, this is such a setup scene. And like in my reality, I would love if this was real. And Terry came in and I'm like, Heather, what the fuck? Heather, no, seriously, what the fuck? We're taking a loss on the mansion. We have 2 floors at this high-rise apartment. Like, Heather, I asked you to stop shopping. It's getting insane. And Heather going, oh my God, the cameras are here, Terry. I don't give a fuck if the cameras are here, Heather. We need to have a talk. This is bullshit. Bullshit. Like, I would love if this is a real scene, but instead we're just laughing. Oh, we're just spending. We're spending willy-nilly. We go back to Shannon and her daughter, because now her daughter's getting a facial, because remember, she just got broken up with, right? Shannon goes, I will absolutely encourage my girls to do the most natural anti-aging procedures, because as we know, facelifts are expensive. And a headline pops up, Shannon Beador hit with $75,000 lawsuit over facelift loan by ex-boyfriend John Jansen. A facelift loan. Facelifts are expensive, but by God, didn't it look great on Shannon post facelift? I don't know. Is this the message you want to give your kids? Who knows? In fact, I think I need a little Botox right now. You can really tell around the eyes. I don't, and sometimes I've always said this, I don't know if Terry, he did botched. I don't think I have anything that's botched, but I always like, if I met the right person, I would just be like, if I had like unlimited money, I'd just be like, do whatever you think is best. Like, make me look like Khloe Kardashian. Like, do it. Right. So Shannon gets a ringing on her phone at the facial place, and it's Tamra. And so Shannon's like, hey, Shannon, the quiet Shannon voice. Hey. And Tamra's like, hey, where are you? I just got a facial. And Tamra's like, well, hey, I'm calling you for an actual reason. I want to invite you to this private resort on a vineyard in Temecula. It's like a 24-hour trip. It's going to be me, you, Gina, and Jen. And Shannon just goes, And she doesn't look pleased. She doesn't look upset, but she doesn't look pleased. And Tamra keeps going, it's this gigantic house. It's got a pool. You can bring your bikini. And Shannon's like, I'm not excited about a bikini. I would be great if Shannon screamed out, I need a bikini wax. And Tamra goes, you don't have to swim, And she goes, okay, well, thank you for the invitation. Bye-bye. I do. And Tamra's like, do you want to go? I figured we'd had fun on the trip. And then we got home and I felt we went backwards a little bit, but I think it'd be great to just reunite and have some fun. And Shannon looks like she's in misery. It looks like me after a bunch of tacos. Like, oh, why did I do that? Oh, God. Shannon in a talking head goes, I'm very hesitant to go on this trip. I just want to hang up the phone. But she is trying to better herself. Tamra goes, it's going to be fun. And Shannon goes, have a good day. Have a good day. And Tamra goes, pack your bikini. And Shannon just goes, My concern is going on the trip. I don't know which Tamra I'm going to get. Am I going to laugh like I did in New Orleans? I don't know why. We had to flash back to New Orleans of them slapping each other's butts. Like, don't you trust the audience just to remember the fun time that they did have in New Orleans? Did we need to see this? Or is it going to be another hurtful argument? Which one? Which Tamra? I mean, Shannon's right. Which Tamra are you going to get? And this is what I like, is like this thing of you will not hurt me no longer, right? Like, we all go back to our ex like 1 or 2 times before it really gets like the sense knocked into us. And I feel like the sense has finally got knocked into Shannon, right? So now we're at some clothes place, Armenia something, and Emily Simpson, she comes in. She's wearing a sweater that says, I'm too expensive. This is Emily and Shane Simpson money, baby. So all these clothes, I guess, are private label, whatever that means. Emily walks in. Tamra's there. And Tamara's like joking about her sweatshirt. It's expensive to be Emily. Uh, Emily says that she is so tired because Annabelle had a cheer competition in San Diego, which means a whale's vagina. And Tamara's like, oh, yeah, I saw that on Instagram. And we see Emily and Gina's daughter and Annabelle. This looks like a horror film at a cheerleader camp. But Emily goes, yeah, Gina was there too. Normally they're not at the same time. So we all hung out together. She had to be there at 9, which means I had to leave at like 7, which means I had to do her hair and makeup at 5. And Tamara's like, oh, shit. Emily said, Emily, by the way, I want to give credit where credit is due. Emily's had that one talking head look that I don't like to comment on because it's not nice to comment about other people's looks. Little whatever. But then we have a new talking head look from Emily, and va 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 boom, wow. Like, I think she looks great in this talking head outfit. I don't know how to describe it. It's like a low cut dress thing, and she has like a gold chain around her neck. And the makeup, the hair is on point. But Emily's saying I have to be there all day with Annabelle. We flash to Annabelle telling Emily that she needs to fold her clothes. And Emily says, the real concern for me is, does Annabelle feel like I'm connecting with her? Does she feel like she can talk to me? Because I don't like our son, Luke. No, she doesn't say that. She says, I also want to have a bond with her. And it's been very difficult because I feel like Luke takes up a lot of my time. So here Luke is getting the shaft again. This poor Luke better be a Beverly Hills viewer and not an OC viewer, or he is going to be upset. She's like, I would like to have a relationship with my other kids, but this bastard Luke, ugh. I hope Luke comes in at the reunion. Like, I hope Andy grills Luke. But Luke, we have the flashback where Luke comes in and bothers Annabelle, and Emily's like, be nice, Luke. And Shane's like, say please, be nice. Be nice. Emily says, I'm trying to parent my children in a way where they all feel like they're getting love and attention. She tells Tamra, I'm exhausted, And Tamara's like, your daughter needs her own glam team. Glam by Pam, right? So then we cut to a scene where it's some restaurant, right? And Gina comes in. Gina, I've got a new leather jacket with poofy sleeves on. And so we have Shannon, Gina, and Jenn Pedranti sitting down. Gina lets us know that my daughter took second place at the cheerleading thing. Yeah. And she was like, Annabelle, Emily's daughter, is on 2 cheerleading teams. Emily loves cheerleading, and she was a cheerleader. And we flash to Emily at age 17 in her cheerleading uniform. You guys, they flashed this photo. I'm looking at it directly right now, and I barely see Emily in there. Like, and that's not a slam or anything. Usually you can kind of tell, like, this does not look like Emily to me. Gina goes, I loathe cheerleading, but Sienna's like so fucking happy, and she's so nice to me. I've got spirit. Yes, I do. I love that. It's like, my daughter's nice to me and not a raving lunatic like that Luke. Oh my God, if I had Emily's Luke, I would just drive over off a bridge. Anyways, we have our new star of this episode. It's like the waiter at the restaurant. He's like, hi, my name's Ank. Hi, I'm going to be taking care of you. Can I get you guys started out with anything to eat? And then we do that thing that I always hate where we go through the whole food order, and Jen's like, well, we definitely want the dates and the Brussels. Yeah. And then Gina's like, I'm going to throw in a line in this scene. Wow, what about the grilled artichoke? Do you like what I just said? I said grilled artichoke. And then Shannon's like, I was thinking that. And then Shannon's like, let me throw in something. Oh, what about these asparagus fries? And then Gina's like, so many vegetables. I'm so glad we had this scene. So anyways, these ladies are about to talk shop, whatever that means. And Jen goes, so did anything else exciting happen? And Jen's like, well, I got a call from Tamra. And Gina's like, me too. And Jen goes, I said yes to Temecula. Did you say yes, Gina? And Gina's like, well, yeah, I said yes. Like Gina's like, yeah, I need the work. Of course I said yes. And Shannon goes, I didn't want to answer. I'm not going to pursue the old friendship again. Like, I'm good with just sitting where I am right now. We flash back to, or we go over back to the scene with Tamra and Emily, and Tamra telling Emily, I decided to take a few girls to Temecula, and I invited Shannon to go. When I called her, the girl was a hot mess. Her hair's sticking up, her boobs are spilling out of her shirt. I could see her vagina. Like, I mean, this is what I'm talking about with Tamra, of like, Tamra, why do you gotta be such an ass all the time? Like, is this you, or do you think it's like a character you play and you think it's like super funny? Like, and Rebecca was watching this with me one of the times I watched it, and Rebecca was like, do you think Tamra's like happy outside of this? Like, you know, like when we don't see Tamra, like cameras are down, she's living her life. Do you think Tamra's day to day is like a happy person? Or do you think it's all like character based and character driven, right? But I just think it's so shitty. It's always like I invited Shannon, but she looked like just warmed over garbage. She looked like a pile of piss. I'll tell you that, Emily. Ugh, gross. But Tamara goes, Emily, I said, hey, Shannon, I was all up and we're going to do this and this. And she's like, ugh, ugh. Tamara says, I do think my delivery was very harsh last year with Shannon. And I feel bad about that. Do you feel bad about that? See, she says the right things, but her behavior says otherwise. So if you're just watching this, you're like, well, she does say she feels bad, but she never learns from those feeling bad moments. But Tamara goes, there's so much history there that I don't like to throw away friendships that are that deep. And so Tamara wants always her apology to be accepted immediately. And if it's not, she will bury you. She will make sure you do not work on this show. But Tamara goes, then Shannon just said, okay, thank you. And then Tamara in a talking head goes, I will wine you. I will wine you. I will dine you. And I was like, oh my God, please say it. I will 69 you. But she goes, I will do anything if you'll just stop holding a grudge. Emily goes, well, it sounds like a fun trip. We go back to Shannon in that scene. Shannon's like, I called my therapist before I came here because of the asparagus fries. No, she called her therapist and she said, you've been very clear on where you're able to exist with Tamra right now. And Jen goes, well, Shannon, come for me and Gina. Gina needs you. And Shannon goes, well, I said, well, my friends are going to say, come for us. We'll be there. We'll have fun. And Gina's like, we will, Shannon. We'll have so much fun. We will. And then the waiter comes back. Here we are. I'm your waiter with these veggies. Jen goes, that's the thing with Tamra. I always have fun with her. She is a very good time. She's a good time girl. And then Shannon's like, until you don't have fun with her. And Jen's like, yeah, and then it sucks. Go back to Emily. Emily goes, so you invited Shannon, Jen, and Gina. Tamra goes, I know how Shannon operates, and she's going to be a tough nut to crack. So even Tamra's saying that. It's like Tamra pays attention to the game. I know how Shannon operates. But now that me and Jen are in a better place, Tamra says, she can help me with Shannon. And if she doesn't, I'll destroy Jen as well. I'll call the FBI. And then Gina can be the mediator, she says. Gina in a talking head goes, I need a buzzer so that when they go out of bounds, it's like, I'm Gina. I got a buzzer. Emily in a talking head goes, I'm sure that Temecula will be a shit show. Emily says you should have taken Gretchen too. That could have just been a whole kumbaya bonding moment for you. Tamara goes, that's too much for me right now. Back to Jen. Jen goes, if she's really taking the time, Shannon, and working on herself, then let's be here. We're the bigger people. We've got a cyber truck. Gina goes, there's clearly some things that you still have under the surface, Shannon. Let's look at this as an opportunity to possibly clear some things up and let's keep it light, you know? Then Gina goes, let's wear maybe a sun hat. I love it. She's like, keeping it light. Like maybe we wear a sun hat, huh? That's keeping it light. Let's meet some men for you, Shan. You want to get your boat rocked? We'll put some needles in you, huh? Let's date men. In like a 24-hour trip on Temecula? What are you talking about, Gina? And then Jen goes, open the snack hole? What the fuck are you open the snack hole? And Gina goes, yeah, we'll just get the snack hole open. What the fuck? Wait, all the women out there, this is new for me. Do you guys refer to your lady parts as the snack hole? Like, or your butt? Like, I mean, what is this a thing? Is this a new thing? Is this an OC thing? The snack hole? No, thank you. Alex Baskin, this cannot stand. And then she goes, yeah, we'll just open the snack hole. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? But Shannon's loving it. Like, oh, you're talking about my snack hole. And Gina's like, it's so freeing when you just pop the snack hole. And Jen's like, she's going to love it. Yeah, you're going to be snack holing everywhere. Yeah. Oh, God. But Shannon loves them talking about her snack hole. We come back from break, and Heather Dubrow is recording her podcast at the Podcast One Studios. Now, I know this is the Podcast One Studios because I took a meeting with Podcast One, and they invited me down to come check out their studios. They have this really nice location in Beverly Hills, which is very Heather Dubrow, but they only have this one area that they record this. So Heather, I guess, I don't know if she still records her podcast here, because I think she has a new one with Terry Dubrow, but I know Jax Taylor records his podcast here. But I love that we see Heather doing the This isn't AI, folks. Heather's like, Steve, can I just check the headset level? Mic check 1, 2, sibilance, mic check. Yes, great. The sound engineer is like, I can hear you. Does this sound good to you, Heather? Check 1, 2. Can you check? Can you turn it up? Check 1, 2. Yes, let the beat roll. Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2. Oh, okay, it's perfect. She says, I've always done my podcast in Beverly Hills, but ever since we moved back to LA, it's opened up incredible doors for me. And we have Dylan Mulvaney, a writer, model, trans woman, and they're meeting. Dylan looks great. Heather says, I feel like I have been given a special opportunity to use this podcast to promote voices that don't usually get heard. I feel like Dylan Mulvaney, she's actually very successful and a big influencer. But anyways, Heather starts, let's talk with Heather Dubrow starts now. Well, my guest today, I have known her for a while. She is the most fabulous person. Please welcome Dylan Mulvaney. And Dylan's like, hey, Heather, I was trying to remember where we, I think you are just such a fixture in my life at this point. Where was the actual first meeting? And Heather's like, oh, can I tell you something? We were Instagram friends. And Dylan's like, I see you all the time at Kathy Hilton's house. She was like one of the first celebrities I ever met. And we see Dylan dancing with Kathy Hilton. And Dylan does a Kathy Hilton imitation. I would have sworn you were Kyle. Huh? Kyle? No. She goes, I would have sworn you were a cis woman. And then Dylan's like, she didn't say cis, but I love Kathy Hilton going, I could have sworn you were a real lady, Dylan. I love a Kathy Hilton. Like, she's even bumbling in stories about Kathy Hilton. But Dylan says, oh my gosh, you even played my mom in my music video. And we flash to a photo of Heather and Dylan together at the music video. But Dylan says, not every woman in this town would do that for me, Transness is very polarizing. These extremists also want to make someone like you scared to support someone like me. And this, by the way, all kidding aside, yes, man. That it's like all these things that we don't understand, and people try to inspire fear. And so these kind of representations are really important, whether it be Dylan Mulvaney or Heather Dubrow's son. These are important representations, right? Because there's so many people that don't know and are scared about it or are told to be scared about it, right? That shouldn't be normalized in any sort of way. Heather says, I feel for me in my life that I have 4 different kids, not like that Luke. I have 4 great kids, not like Luke, Emily's Luke. But she says different genders, different sexualities. And I believe I was given these 4 kids for a reason, Heather says. And in talking that, she says, every mom is worried about their children's safety. So am I concerned about the world and how they perceive the queer community? Yes, I'm worried. And she then tells Dylan, and I know that my kids are lucky because they have supportive family, they have resources, but I know a lot of kids don't. This is very personal to me. This is my family, Heather says. It's the most important thing that my kids are growing up in a world where they're accepted, where everyone is accepted. And anything I can do to help, that I'm going to. And so, listen, for all the joking I do about Heather Dubrow, I agree with her 100%. And I also think she is very wise in saying that she realizes her kids have these resources, has a family that all love each other, because so many people don't. And, but that she wants everybody to be accepted. It's a pretty simple ask, even though it is one of the hardest things that I think a lot of us can wrap our heads around. And so I think that's a really important scene. But also, like I said earlier, I think that scene is there because I think Gretchen is going to be involved in it in some way by the end of this season. But we'll see, right? Okay, so we now go to an Emily scene, and she's at the vet. She's at Mission Viejo Animal Services Center. Oh my God. Is she dropping Luke off at the pound? I'm sorry, Luke. We can't. Mom, I don't want to go here. Sorry, Luke. We got to drop you off at the pound. But anyways, it's not true. She's actually meeting Jenn Pedranti. They're going to volunteer. Maybe John Jansen's in one of these cages. Emily says, Jen's always been a huge advocate for animals and me as well. And I love that we share this bond together. And we are running out of yoga studios to film in. But Emily says, Jenn and I could change maybe not the world, but maybe this group of friends, this group of bitches. You see what I did there? So Jenn gets there. Jen's wearing a sweatshirt that says, please love me. No, she does not wearing that. But she's talking about she got her cat tuxedo from them, and it's the love of her life. Jenn said she started fostering animals 12 years ago. She's done it so many times. They're like her babies. And we see like cats that she's fostered. It seems like she has a lot of animals. Ryan should definitely be worried, Jenn says. I am probably coming home with 1, 2, or 3 new puppies. Well, no, Jenn, let's not go. Let's not. I mean, it's great to, no, everybody should go foster. Our dog, rest in peace, Brooklyn. We got her from an animal rescue organization, and it was so, oh my gosh, I miss Brooklyn. She was this cute dog. She had this droopy eye, and she was just the best. And we got her from this foundation, and I knew immediately that was the dog, right? And they were like, okay, but this was a place where they would even come check out your place to make sure that you were set up for having a dog, that everything was good, like it was a good home environment. And they were like, okay, but your dog is going to be on Access Hollywood as one of the examples of the dogs to try to get other people to foster, like in an Access Hollywood segment. So our dog got to sit on Billy Bush's lap. Yeah, Billy Bush. It was big time. So that was pretty exciting. But yes, go foster animals. I will say, that I'm pretty obsessed with TikTok. I don't make a lot of them, but I'm on TikTok a lot. And I primarily get dog videos. And I will tear up at any dog video. Such good dog videos on TikTok. I love dogs so much. I'm not anti-cat. By the way, I'm about to rage bait you. What if I was like, I hate cats? I'd lose half the audience. Anyways, we meet JR that works there. He's in a uniform, and you tell Emily and Jenn are like hot for this guy in uniform. They're like, hey, bud. All right. So now they're going to the cattery where they hold these cats, and you hear some meowing. They're all in these like little cages, and they're going to clean. And Jen's like, oh my God, you've got a lot of poopy in this cage, which I imagine she says to Ryan in the bathroom as well. But Jenn says the cattery is nothing. Be a mom. Vomit, boogers, human poop. Emily's like, yeah, I've cleaned up curdled milk. I've cleaned up Luke's shit. No, but she says she's cleaned up every color imaginable of shit. So it's just them pretty much cleaning these cages. I mean, it's nice. It's a good Samaritan kind of stuff, right? So then they go to the yard to play with dogs, and Jenn goes, oh, so how is it going with your family? And I'm like, oh shit, here we go. And Emily's like, it's been rough. And I'm like, oh, yep. And then she goes, it's been really rough with Luke. I was like, here we go. Luke's getting a lot of screen time this episode. It's been really rough with Luke. And Jen's like, did you get any of the results back? And Emily's like, no, not yet. I just feel like I don't even have like the correct vocabulary when I talk about Luke. Shane and I don't really know how to parent him well. We don't understand like what's going on with him. But like I understand that because of what's going on in Luke's brain that I have to regulate his emotions. Maybe regulate your own emotions while you're at it. But Emily goes, so I coddle him. And then we flash back to Luke at dinner where Emily's like, sit up. Come on, bud, sit up. He looks like me at a dinner table. Like he's 10 years old. He looks like me. But Shane's like, just ignore him. It's just enabling behavior. But Emily tells Jenn, Shane doesn't do any of that because Shane's not a warm and fuzzy person. I met Shane one time at BravoCon, and I thought, he wasn't warm and fuzzy, but he was like a super nice, like I just remember being like kind of super warm, not like, hey, oh, bud, like pull my finger. It wasn't like, but he was very nice. He seemed like a very caring person, but that was just one meeting, right? Emily says, the therapist actually said there's no one in the house that he has a connection with except for me. Are you talking about Shane? No, he's talking about Luke. And she's like, how about you just do this? When his behavior's like that, why don't you hug him? And Shane's like, okay. In his mind, it's like, I'm rewarding bad behavior. And Luke knows that his brother and sister are irritated by him. And that hurts my heart because Keller came to me the other day and he goes, Mom, can I go to therapy too? And Emily goes, no, you're not fucked up like your brother Luke. No, Emily goes, I'm just really sad about everything and I don't have anybody to talk to. Oh, Keller said that. I'm really sad about everything and I don't have anybody to talk to. So Emily starts tearing up and Emily's like, so now I have, and Jen's like, but they're twins and you guys are also hyper focused on Luke. And you have to understand, Emily, our kids feel our dynamics within our home. Emily in a talking head says, I really focused all my time and attention on Luke, and it was actually detrimental to my other children. I was wrong, Emily says. And she tears up in the talking head. She goes, I thought that they didn't need me as much. But what I realized is they needed me. They just needed me in different ways. Jenn says, what a good boy for being able to articulate that to you. And Emily's like, I know. And Jen's like, oh my gosh, all seasons. And our kid go through so many of these seasons. And some of them you're going to be able to fix, Emily, and some of them you can't. And you are doing everything you are supposed to be doing. And don't do that mom guilt crap. And if he needs to go talk to somebody, then he goes and talks to somebody. And, it's nothing against his closeness with you or Shane. Why don't you let Luke hug Jenn? Jenn, Tamra says, is like boobs on a stick. Maybe Luke's like, hey, can I go hug Jenn? Every time I need to hug you, Emily's like, go hug Jenn. Luke's like, okay. But Jenn says, you're going to raise these little boys who are going to become these huge men. And then you just got to hope and pray that they never go to one of Tamra's naked wasted nights. No, she goes, you got to hope and pray. I don't know if Emily goes, I don't know if mine will be huge. I mean, Shane is their biological father. So how the Shane hate needs to stop. This guy's a medium-sized man just because he's not strapping. But then Jenn goes, okay, you're going to raise medium-sized men. So now we have a round robin scene where all the ladies are packing for Temecula. Tamra's showing an outfit to her daughter, and her daughter's like, oh, God. I love that Tamra's daughter gives her shit, kind of keeps her humble. And then we go to Jenn packing and Ryan, I don't know, whatever they say. And then we're at Gina's, and Travis is sitting at the desk, and I'm shocked that his huge testicles can even fit into this scene. But he's there and he's like, you don't have to buy all new wardrobe for every trip that you go on. And Gina's like, it makes the trip go better. Gina fucking clears out a Target for every trip. And then we go to Shannon and Shannon's like, we see fucking Archie Beador, dude. My favorite cast member of Real Housewives of Orange County. Archie just comes in there, is like, fuck, Shannon, I will film with you, I guess, but my God, I deserve all the treats in the world. She's like, Archie, I don't know exactly how long I'm going to be gone. You're going to have to fend for yourself. One night. No, I'm going to be 1 night and 2 days, Archie. Archie's literally like, you know what that means. Kegger in the OC. But Archie's just watching Shannon get a suitcase. And then she's like, where did you go, Archie? And then all of a sudden he's in the backyard and we see through a glimpse in the window, he is violently humping a stuffed animal. This is revenge porn. Archie deserves privacy when he's in his romantic moments like this. But also, this was the best moment of the show. Archie just dry humping the stuffed animal. Archie's like, I'm going to give this stuffed animal what's for. I just got this stuffed animal naked, wasted. Let's do this. And then now we're at Emily's house. And Emily gets a phone call from a FaceTime from Shannon. A FaceTime from Heather. Do you remember the days when they didn't have FaceTime? And I just feel like I wish we could go back to those days because sometimes I feel like it's lazy storytelling to rely on FaceTime so much in so many scenes. But Heather's like, how are you doing, Emily? And it was like, I'm just sitting here with Luke, the problem child. He got out of school early. And Heather's like, I just thought it would be fun to do a little sleepover at my castle, at my place. I'm inviting Gretchen, and we're going to go out for dinner and maybe go to a bar. And I was like, that sounds great. Yeah, great. Like an hour and a half commute. Great. Because, you don't live in Orange County. But Heather's like, I am so excited. In a talking head, Heather goes, if Tamra wants to enjoy her apology tour in Temecula, this is just a perfect opportunity for me to spend a little time with Emily and Gretchen. And we see that these workers are setting up canopy beds in one of the rooms in Gretchen's apartment. One of the rooms in Heather's huge apartment. You can't just give them guest bedroom. You got to have people bring in canopy beds. I guess that's wealth. But anyways, Heather's like, they are fun and they are easy. You think Gretchen's easy? We get along great. But Emily goes, I need a little fun girls getaway because of Luke. But Heather goes, I know, in a talking head, not in front of Luke. Heather goes, I know what's been going on with Luke has been so stressful. For her to get away for 24 hours and let loose would be great for her. So Emily gets off the phone and Emily's like, all right, dude, you have to watch Dad for me. He doesn't do well when I'm not around. You need to babysit him. And Luke's like, I need $10 though. This kid seems awesome, man. He's fucking blackmailing Emily. I love this kid. This kid seems like he's golden. But even Luke points out, he goes, Mom, you pay my babysitters. And Emily's like, shut up, Luke. No, Emily goes, I do pay your babysitters. I pay them well. And then we go to Tamra's daughter, and Tamra's daughter's like, what? Okay, so Mom, what girls are going? And Tamra goes, Jen's going. Okay. We made up. And her daughter's like, that's good. And Shannon's going. She's been hot and cold with me. And her daughter's like, really? Okay. Her daughter dyed her hair because last season I was like, she looks so much like Lydia Dietz from Beetlejuice, Winona Ryder. But then Tamra goes, oh, get this. I got Shannon a book. If she's going to be a bitch. And throws her the book. And her daughter's like, you can't help yourself, can you, Mom? And Tamra's like, it's a self-help book. And we see the title of the book says, How Not to Be a Miserable Cow by Alison Capra. And also the book doesn't even look new. It looks all bent up like somebody gave it to Tamra in the first place and she's re-gifting it. But Tamra goes, just because it says how not to be a miserable cow. And her daughter's like, it's a passive-aggressive self-help book, Mom. And Tamra goes, yeah, and look, it's big giant letters. Because Shannon Beador has old ass eyes. But her daughter's like, this is just diss after diss. You're like, oh, you're a miserable human being and you're a bitch who can't see. Here's the big old letters for you. You can't help but be petty. Her daughter, by the way, I want her daughter to be a housewife at this point. We go back to Gina talking to Big Balls, and Gina's like, Tamra's relationship with Jen and Shannon are very fragile, and I kind of feel like I'm in the middle of that, and it's keeping me employed at this point, right? And Travis like, well, you're going to be directly in the middle of that, just like my testicles. And Gina's like, I understand that. The other day, I brought up to her that I thought it was kind of crappy that she called out Shannon and had been so mean to her about her drinking. And then we flash back to 1 week earlier, where Gina's like, last year, Tamra, you were coming from this place with her, this drinking thing, but then this year, you're pulling her away and sneak away for a cocktail in New Orleans. And we flash back to New Orleans where Tamra's telling Shannon, hey, come on, you're buying me a drink, Shannon. And Tamra tells Gina, so you don't think she's better? And Gina goes, I see her kind of creeping back. Tamra gets Gina to do Tamra's dirty work. Also, once again, I want to point out, Tamra was the one that was hammered and on Xanax and quit the show a couple episodes ago. Well, we ain't talking about that. We're now creeping back the Shannon drinking storyline. Gina tells Travis, I just don't want Tamra to say anything to Shannon that's going to upset her. And Travis is like, I think that's kind of standard. Travis needs to produce this show. This guy gets it. So we cut out of that scene. We see the sun go down. We see somebody on a surfboard. The sun's back up. I don't know what they're doing with this. And Emily's in a car picking up Gretchen, and Gretchen's on the front porch with her daughter and Slade. Like, why is the whole family on the front porch? Like, did they lose the keys? Can they not get in the front? And also, Gretchen's daughter. I told this to Rebecca. I said, I feel like Gretchen's daughter has been the same age for the last 10 years. For some reason, where you just feel like you've seen the kid at this age for way too long. And I know that's just is that some sort of weird phenomenon? It's not just with Gretchen's daughter. It's with like so many kids where you'd be like, I feel like they've looked the same for like 10 years. They're kids. And then I was like, maybe is Gretchen's daughter a robot? No, but she's just looked the same age for a while. Anyways, Emily's like, get in here, Gretchers. Gretchen gets in. Her daughter's like, bye. And Slade's like, do you want me to come for the scene? No. Anyways, and then we see Gina packing shit into Jen's truck, and Shannon pulls up in her car. Shannon already doing physical comedy, and Gina's like, you brought 2 suitcases, Shannon? And Tamra's like, Shannon, it's 24 hours. And Shannon's like, one is my pans. I brought pans in a suitcase. And Gina's like, the house is so nice. I'm sure they have pans. I gave you want to use your own pans if you're cooking with your own pans. Anyways, Gina's like, we're just going to go on this trip, Tam. And Shannon's still parking her car, and they're kind of making fun of how kooky Shannon is, right? Shannon finally gets in. Tamra's got a big old blue truck. And then Shannon goes, I lost my flipper. And they're like, you lost what? And Shannon's like, Gina, look. And then she like pulls down her mouth, and one of her tooth, like her tooth is out. Shannon's homeless, not toothless. She goes, look, holy shit. If I could get one of Shannon's teeth for my reality show museum, or did she have to give one of those teeth to John Jansen in that settlement? But anyways, Gina's like, that's so weird, Shannon. That's so weird. Tamra's like, how long has it been like that? And then Shannon goes, couple of years. I have not had this tooth for a couple of years. And they're all laughing, and Gina and I are talking heads like, I can't with Shannon. I don't know how she's going to get a date. She doesn't even have all her teeth. Now in Emily's car, Emily shows that she's got a full bottle of Fireball. And Gretchen's like joking like she's drinking it. Like, if we're doing like throwbacks to a Naked Wasted storyline, should we be joking about getting hammered with a bottle of booze in a car? But they're all going like, Fireball. And then Gretchen at a talking head goes, Fireball. Gretchen tells Emily, if we bring out Fireball for Gretchen, it could get ugly. Also, it's weird when you refer to yourself in the third person. But Emily goes, whatever white trash drinks we can get, right? You know, Heather is going to be so annoyed with us because she's so fancy. So we cut to Beverly Hills. We see Rodeo Drive. We're at Heather's sleepover in the apartment. We see these beautiful beds all set up. Somebody's hand placing in Oreos in that very Kardashian candy-like in glass jars. And Heather's like, this looks so good. Mega stuffed Oreos. Amazing. I will not touch any of them. So they're driving to Temecula, the other girls, and Shannon's like, you have so what's that? You have a few vines in your front yard. How many bottles of wine does that make? 1? And Tamra's like, what are you talking about? And Shannon goes, you just looked at me and started laughing. And then Jen goes, it's like Deep Thoughts by Shannon. What else are you thinking about? And then we do a little bit, remember that SNL thing they used to do, Deep Thoughts by Jack Handy? We do Deep Thoughts by Shannon Storms Beador. And we hear Shannon speaking as the script pops up on the TV screen. And Shannon's like, my dad had an avocado mountain. And he bought like a whole mountain and planted avocado trees. And then one was going to build houses. It didn't work out so well. I don't think. And the music cuts out. Deep Thoughts by Shannon Storms Beador. It is very funny. Come on, keep Shannon around for the comedy. We cut back to Heather, where the girls are getting off Heather's private elevator to her apartment. And Heather's like, oh my God, Gretchen, that is the biggest suitcase ever. It's one night. And then we see Heather take another selfie. Heather loves a selfie. So Heather's like, welcome to my little place. And then a guy, this butler, Nate, it says sleepover butler, comes in with champagne. He's like, I have drinks for you, madame. Right? And Heather's like, he's cute, right? Emily's like, oh yeah, he's real cute. I want to get a sleepover butler. And Nate goes, hey, I'm available. And Emily's like, oh my God, I'm going to end up divorced after this season. Oh my God, wouldn't that be crazy? It's just Emily gets shit-faced on Fireball at his apartment and sleeps with Nate, the overnight butler. Okay, so now we go to Temecula and we're at the house. It is a really nice house. It's a beautiful house. And everybody's like, wow, look at this. All right. And so they go in. I wish they fought over bedrooms like they would do on the first episode of The Real World. I would love that. So Shannon's like, very pretty. Wow. Okay. And so they're checking out the place. But some of the rooms have bunk beds, which is weird. So they're picking out their rooms, but nobody's fighting. Jen has a room with 2 beds. Shannon gets the primary, and she's like, "This is too much. It's too much. I really don't need it. But Tamra goes, well, if you're more comfortable, you can sleep on the couch. There's a couch in the bedroom as well. Shannon will end up sleeping on the floor. Tamra in a talking head goes, I'm trying everything I can do to make Shannon feel comfortable. Shannon in a talking head, I don't need the primary bedroom. Like, that's where I start to feel uncomfortable. And then they go outside, look at the pool, really pretty pool. And they're going to get ready for a wine tasting, right? So now the bags are getting unloaded. Remember, Shannon brought 2 bags because her bag, one of them just has pots. And now Shannon's checking out the kitchen. Like, oh my God, there's organic stuff. Oh my God. There's organic stuff. And Jen says, I cannot believe the amount of luggage you brought. What are you getting out of your suitcase right now? And Shannon has one of her suitcases fully open in the kitchen. And she's like, I'm getting out my bakeware. It's my food suitcase. And Jen's like, that's really amazing of you, Shannon. And Gina's like, is it? Why would you pack all this? And Gina's like, because I needed an immersion blender. Shannon pulls out a microwave, an espresso machine. But Shannon's like, I'm cooking breakfast, so I did bring mixers, utensils, spices, ingredients, Archie. The stuffed animal Archie humps. And she even brought an egg bite maker, you guys. Shannon goes, I think I brought a lot. And Gina's like, what in your suitcase is when I go through my kids' backpacks? It's like, what is in here, huh? Something sticky. Honestly, Shannon Beador is a feral animal. This is direct access to what it looks like inside Shannon Beador's brain. And it's fucking gnarly. You take that back right now, Gina. You take that, or I'll say a casita joke. So they're all making fun of Shannon, even though she's going to make him a great breakfast. We go back to Heather's. And Gretchen's like, is this considered the living room? And Heather's like, there's a bigger living room, but that's where we put your canopy beds. This is like the kitchen. The kitchen has its own family room, Heather says. And Emily's like, I'm so hungry. Let me at that charcuterie. And there's like a beautiful view of Los Angeles. And Heather's like, this is too high for a bird. So what you just saw was not a bird. How was your drive? And Emily says, it was fun. We analyzed Tamra. We did like a psychoanalysis and we flash back to the car ride 1 hour earlier. And Emily's telling Gretchen, I wouldn't say that Tamra was a girl's girl. You know, she seems like the type that would always have been friends with guys. It's like even with the photo with Jen, the former fatty photo, and that gets brought up on screen. I think she brought that up because Tamra feels insecure with her relationship with Jen, but that's an insecurity issue with herself. I mean, I think Emily nails it. And Gretchen asks Heather, do we know if the other team is having a good time? And Heather's like, Jen and Tamra are fresh, you know. And Emily goes, I might have ruined that, though. And Heather's like, why? What'd you do? What did you do, Emily? And Emily goes, well, I saw Jen. She seemed pretty upset about the photo again and the fact that she did not bring it up. We flash back to 2 days earlier at that animal shelter. And Jen's like, I don't know if it's a fat photo of me. Jen, it's called former fatty photo. She goes, I don't know. Emily goes, did you not ask to see the photo, Jen? And Jen goes, Emily, we've never been able to have the conversation. Emily tells the group she still doesn't know what Tamra's intent was bringing it up. Tamra showed you that photo, Heather. Gina calls it the former fatty photo. And Heather goes, I think she was showing me the picture to be like, this is what she looked like before. Now she looks like more like me. No, she was. We all saw the scene. She was doing like, haha, look how shitty she looks. Gretchen in a talking head goes, Heather has admitted that she's scared of Tamra. So she's going to make excuses all day long. Like, I don't want to litigate your guys' relationship. La, 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 la. But she'll litigate everybody else's issue in the group. But when it comes to Tamra, it's fine. It's all good. Just look the other way. Listen, Gretchen isn't wrong all the time. Gretchen in the scene goes, I mean, it'd be interesting to see if Jen brings that up when she's down there in the trip, right? Oh, what are the chances? You don't think a producer's going to make her? Of course he's going to bring it up. Emily says, I bet she will bring it up because it sounds like a Band-Aid over like an open wound that's going to come open again. And Heather goes, I don't agree with that assessment. And Emily rolls her eyes. Cut to commercial. We come back from commercial and the ladies in Temecula, a bunch of motorcycles with sidecars come like to pick them up. And they act like they're like, what is this? It's a motorcycle with a sidecar. Shannon's like, I'm not a big motorcycle person. I think they're dangerous. Tamra in a talking head goes, I mean, it's been a while since Shannon's ridden anything. I knew that joke was coming a mile away. It's been a while since Shannon's had a big old dick in her. It's a motorcycle joke. Oh, God. Anyways, Brian, who's like leading them, is like, hey, I'm Brian. And she's like, I'm Shannon. And Jen goes, I already like the connection that you two have. And Shannon goes, just because I'm single does not mean you got to try and throw every single man at me, right? I do like that it seems to be a repeated theme. Anywhere they go, they try to point out some guy to Shannon. And then Jen, they're like, okay, you got to split your legs. And Shannon's like, she's good at that. They all love making dirty jokes about each other's vagina area. Jeez. Anyways, the motorcycles go and everybody's like, all right. And Shannon's like, should I keep my mouth shut for bugs? Oh my God, I feel like I'm on a roller coaster. And Gina's like, yeah, woo. And everybody's like, ha ha ha, we're having fun. It's fun, OC. And Shannon's holding on for dear life. And Tamra's like, I'll tell you one thing, Dubrow's not doing this at her sleepover. We cut to Dubrow. There actually literally is a motorcycle and sidecar in her apartment. No, it's not. But we go back to the Heather's penthouse, and Heather's like, Nate, will you take a picture of the girls for us? And so Nate takes a bunch of glamour shots of the ladies. They're all holding hands, going to prom. It's very cute. We cut back to Shannon on the motorcycle. My nose! I'm losing more teeth! I've got snot pouring out of my nose! Just doing physical comedy. Like Shannon's like flipping nose snot back at the other ladies. It's high comedy. Shannon and the talking head's like, I'm having a bit of an allergy issue, so I'm sorry, Jen. I need to blow my nose! Now we're at Ween's family wine cellar. That's where they're at, right? So they got there. Everybody had a lot of fun on the motorcycles. And Tamra's like, there's water splatter on my glasses. Or is that snot? And Jen's like, I got Shannon's snot everywhere as well. And Shannon's like, it was blowing everywhere. And the lady's like, hey, ladies. Welcome to Ween's Cellar. I'll take you back to your Vineyard View lounge area where you'll probably get into some sort of fight and scare off other customers, okay? And Gina's like, oh, look at the guy over here. This guy over by the cart might be single, Shannon, huh? He might put his sausage in you, huh? Shannon's like, stop. So it's a beautiful table by the vineyards. It looks really nice. All the ladies are laughing. So it seems like good. We go back to Rodeo Drive. The ladies are walking down Rodeo. And Heather's like, let me buy you ladies something. And she's obviously joking, but Gretchen's like, you're going to buy us something? Do we get a Birkin out of this? You said it on camera. That's legal. And Gretchen's like, oh my God, all the fancy stores. We're seeing Cartier. We're seeing Gucci, you guys. We're seeing Van Cleef. And they're joking about Heather knowing all anyways, they pull up to a stoplight, right? And Emily sees a paparazzi, and it was like, Heather, did you call the paparazzi? And then Heather goes, oh my God, can I tell you that? It is the paparazzi. Oh my God. And they're like, oh, because you called them. And they're like, oh, LOL. And we see this lady with a telephoto lens. And Emily tells the lady, did she pay you to say that? Did she pay you to do this? Because the lady's like, she did not call me to do this at all. And then we find out this lady's name is Shane, and it says totally coincidental paparazzo. Now, I will say this is clean audio on the paparazzo, which means she's wearing a mic. So this is somewhat set up. I mean, it's clean audio. That's just how that works. They've mic'd her up. So then Shane looks like she's reading a line or something. She's like, I've got to let you know, she never has called the paparazzi. I know she did not call the paparazzi. And Emily's like, oh, it was her assistant. And then Cheyenne is like, it wasn't even that. And they're like, what was it? And then Cheyenne's like, it was just a random shot. And then we go back to the flashback to the lie detector guy. Did you call the paparazzi to meet you at Disneyland? No. And then the lady says, he has you failing on that one. And Heather's like, well, I don't know what to tell you. Emily in a talking head goes, okay, what are the chances that there's a paparazzi who confirms that Heather did not call the paparazzi? Gretchen in a talking head goes, did you plant the photographer here? And then Cheyenne goes, I know who shot it, and I know it was not set up. And Heather in a talking head goes, vindicated. No, this looks, you look creepier. What are you talking? Now I think everything's set up. What are you talking about? Emily says, it seems strange. And Cheyenne's like, I've got to go now. Did I do good? Do I get a bonus? Heather, I'm sorry. No. So now they go to this really nice restaurant, Crustacean. And espresso martinis are already being delivered as Emily walks in. And it's a really nice restaurant, right? So they all get seated, they're laughing, and we get their orders. And of course, Emily orders an espresso martini. And then Gretchen goes, you guys don't have Fireball, do you? And Emily's like, it's in my purse. And then Gretchen goes, well, if I mix, it gets really ugly. Naked wasted. Emily says, I bought the Fireball so we could take out the perfectly coiffed Gretchers and bring out the fun vagina hanging out Gretchers. You guys, I didn't add that line. That's really what Emily says. The fun vagina. Isn't this how the naked wasted shit happened in the first place? What, the fun vagina hanging out Gretchers? Anyways, the waiter's like, the tuna cigars are iconic. I have to recommend those. And they're like, yeah, let's do it. Sure. And Emily's like, what's the best steak? The best steak in the world is Japanese A5 Wagyu. So I do have to recommend that. So Emily gets that, and that's like $149. And you know Heather's picking up the bill, so I'd be like, hell yeah. Emily's like, well, throw in a lobster as well, right? Well, let's get some stuff for Luke. So we go back to the winery, and the charcuterie board is out. They got 3 whites and 3 reds in front of them. And then Gina's like, are we drinking them or are we spitting? And then they, of course, are like, oh, are you a spitter? And Gina goes, I don't actually drink, but I want to do the swish and spit. You know, I'll take the mocktails to swish and spit, you know? And Gina's like, this is so nice, you guys. And Tamra's like, are you having fun? And she's like, yes, it's been super fun. But you don't need to give me the primary room. And Tamra's screaming, I'm trying to do everything. The guy comes out, he's like, I'm going to start you guys with an Albarno. And Shannon goes, this is nice. This is very nice. Nice. Okay. Gina goes, it's so annoying to watch her just fuck everything up, in regards to Tamra calling out Shannon. Like, are you having a good time? Don't talk, Tamra. Just sit there and drink your wine. Tamra goes, I'm so glad Shannon likes me now. Shannon doesn't want a spotlight on her. And Shannon's like, okay, that makes me feel very uncomfortable. And Gina's just annoyed. Cut to break. So we come back from break, and the Temecula girls, they get brought their spittoon, their spit bucket, and everybody's spitting into it. And Jen says, "That is not grateful." And Gina's like, "It's a hawk tua. It's a hawk tua." And Jen's like, "What's a hawk tua?" And Gina's like, "It's when you got a hawk tua." And then Tamara, of course, goes, "And then you jack him off." Jack him off. Is that what you do with Eddie? Spit and jack him off? And Shannon looks shocked. I'm shocked too. And Shannon's like, I've never heard of that. Of course, because you're an angel, Shannon. And then Tamara does it again, spits in her hand, and goes, "Arr." Shannon in a talking head goes, "I'm not a spitter. I'm so sorry. Yeah, Leslie, I don't know what Haktua is." The producer goes, "Are you more of a swallower? Fire this producer. How dare you?" And Shannon goes, "Oh my God. Well, I swallow things when I drink them. I don't spit them." That didn't sound good. Ah! Anyways, back to Shannon at the Temecula. She goes, Haktua? Haktua? Hak? And then they're like, "Try it, Shannon, spit." Anyways, we back to Crustacean. And he's like, "World famous tuna cigars." And he lifts like the cigar box and all this. I hate these fancy restaurants when the smoke comes out. Like, "Oh, so just give me the food. I'm here to eat. I'm a glut. Just give me the food. I'm a former fatty photo. I want the food. I don't need the smoke. Just give me the tuna cigar." But everybody's like, "Wow, oh my God, it smells good too." And on the end, it looks like a burnt cigar, but it's caviar, you guys. Caviar. And Gretchen's like, "Are you not a caviar girl?" And Emily's like, "I don't want to eat anything that comes out of somebody's vagina." Is that where caviar comes from? Who's the first person to discover that? My God. But Gretchen gets 2 cigars because Emily doesn't want hers. You know Emily's just going to throw it in her purse. Emily says, "Heather, now that you're in LA full time, how is it different than Orange County?" And Heather goes, "It's weird and fun and cool. There's a place called Sexy Unique Restaurant." No. Then Heather hits us with, "It's like I've been taking classes at the Groundlings." Now, Groundlings is a famous sketch comedy improv place. So many people have come out of there, like Will Ferrell, Kristen Wiig, old Ryan Bailey's been there. It's a who's who. But I love that if I was still in the Groundlings, I could potentially be in a class with Heather Dubrow. "Can I get a location? All right, here's a scene. We're on a moon." And then Heather goes, "One of the gals in there has written a musical, so she asked me to be in it." And we flash to this musical called A Million Aisles Away. And Heather is singing, "Welcome to the best night of your lives, Black Friday. Tonight happiness is for sale. And remember, when your cart's full, your heart's full." It was so fun. I mean, that's how I started my career, was musical theater. And I love that. I've been taking vocal lessons again. I joined an acting class. I've presently spent $30,000. But now we flash to Temecula, and Shannon goes, "Heather's like taking comedy classes." And Tamara goes, "She wants to do comedy?" And there's just silence. And Shannon's like, "It was my understanding." And Tamara looks confused. And Jen goes, "I cannot see Heather doing improv." And Gina's like, "I've never really known her to be a comedian." And that's so sad because, Heather thinks of herself as like super funny. But then they were like, "I can see Terry doing it." And then we flashed to 2 months earlier at that birthday party. And Terry's like, what's the, I remember when they had the weed smoke there and Terry was like high as a kite. He's like, "What? The fact that his last name is in Italia, genitalia." I've not been working on this. This is good stuff. So we go back to Crustacean and Emily goes, "So Jen asked me if I thought that you, Heather, just pacified Tamra because you're scared of her." And Tamara's like, "What was your response?" And there was like silence. We go back to a flashback with her and Jen, and Emily goes, "Listen, Heather pacifies Tamra because she doesn't want to get into it with her because she cannot deal with Tamra's aggressiveness." Yeah, I feel like a lot of people are like that with Tamra. They just don't want to deal with it, so they just relent. But Emily goes, "I don't remember, Heather, but I think I might have said that I thought maybe you did." Well, it sounds like you do remember. Heather goes, "First of all, can I tell you something? Jen's statement is bullshit. Everything happened in New Orleans, and then we met, and I was trying to explain I felt thrown away. And then we flash back to a couple weeks earlier with Tamra and Heather, and Tamra's like, oh, it's always like, poor you. No, it's not, Tamra. And Tamra's like, just show why I feel the way I feel. And Heather's relaying the story to the girls, and Heather's like, I was like, the fuck just happened? And Emily goes, during that lie detector test, you said that you were scared of her. Right. But when they asked me, are you scared of her? My brain went, yeah, because that was scary. And Emily goes, are you scared of her now? No. Emily's about to have to pay for her own meal at this point. But Heather goes, no, because I've gotten over that. In a talking head, she goes, I'm so tired of hearing that I'm scared of Tamra. I am the only person who told her how upset I was after New Orleans. The rest of this group, oh, they're all bark. Bark, 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 bark. And then when they see her, oh, I'm sorry. Are you okay? I should have called you. Who's scared? It's all you. She makes a great point. Back to Temecula. They're like, do you guys want to go walk? And so they're going to walk through like the wineries, right? So Shannon and Jenn go walking, and then Tamra and Gina go walking. And Jen's like, Shannon, how are you doing? And then Shannon gives us one of her great physical comedy moments, and she falls into the grass. Ah, shit! Oh, Actua! Ow! I can't believe it. My heel went into a hole. So they're laughing. And Shannon's like, there's holes everywhere. And she almost ripped her black leather vineyard pants. Anyways, Gina asked Tamra, how do you think it's been going with Shannon and Jenn? And Tamra's like, oh, well, Jen's got some hesitation, you know. And why do you think she doesn't want to move on, though, Shannon? And Tamra goes, because she holds grudges. Back to Shannon. Shannon's telling Jenn, I'm never going to forget what happened last year. When she says, you like me now, I don't know how to react to that. Then we go back to Tamra, and Tamra's making fun of Shannon. She's like, ha, 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 ha. Then we go back to Jenn. Jenn going, I don't know either. Tamra says, Jenn wants to move forward. And then Gina goes, I'll be honest. Jenn is upset that you showed Heather the former fatty photo. And Tamra's like, oh, God. I love Tamra's like, oh, God, I have to responsibility for my actions. We flash back to 2 hours earlier when Jen's relating to Gina. Jenn goes, I saw Emily the other day, and she was bringing up the former fatty photo, and I got all pissy about it again. It's good to communicate things that bother you. You don't want it to continue to happen. And Jenn goes, but that never changes until she truly changes. We go back to Tamra. Tamra goes, it wasn't like I showed her some fucking ugly picture of her or something. That's not true at all, Tamra. That's exactly why you showed Heather. And Gina's like, well, that's how it was presented, Tamra. I'm Gina Inspector Columbo, you know? And Tamra's like, that's what you were told? Yeah, Heather told me. Former fatty photo, she called it. 2 months earlier, we flash back, Heather talking to Gina. Tamra said to me that Jenn wants to be her. She showed me a picture of her heavy. And Gina's like, Jenn? Not that she was like fat or anything. She showed me a picture of her heavier. Then we go to Tamra in the winery, and Tamra's like, well, I didn't know it was presented as a fat photo. Tamra realized, and she got busted by Dubrow. I didn't realize it was, and Gina's like, well, I mean, when you tell me that Tamra pulled out a former fatty photo, that's what I hear. And Tamra goes, that's unfortunate. Heather made it out like that. I need to go to war with Heather now. That's unfortunate. And Gina goes, yeah, that's what I'm saying. So if that's not what it is, then fix it. And Tamra's like, I get it. It was what it was, so there's nothing to get. And then Tamra goes, I get blamed for everything. What? Oh, my God. Okay, we go to our last commercial break of the episode. We come back from break, and the girls in Temecula are at a nice dinner. I count 2 cowboy hats. I think Tamra and Jenn are both wearing some cowboy hats. They're all sitting down and eating, and then Tamra's like, Gina brought up something to me on our walk. She said that when we talked that day, Jenn, you didn't feel totally resolved. And Jenn goes, I do feel that way. I mean, when the girls were telling me this former fatty photo, and then Tamra goes, I never said former fatty photo. And then Jen goes, but then what was the intent? And Tamra goes, okay, well, and Jen's like, truly, just be honest. No, just be honest. And Tamra's like, no, 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 totally honest. She's crossing her fingers behind her back, though, so it doesn't count. Tamra's like, I was talking about the fact that I felt like you just changed. She changed from the person that she was. And Jen's like, oh, so I look different to you. And Tamra's like, totally different. You used to be fat. No, no, not fat. You were this really shy, timid girl, not heavy at all, super insecure. And then you just changed completely. And in a talking head, Jen goes, yeah, I have lost weight in the last couple of years. When I was married, I was lonely. When the kids were napping, not even being hungry, the cookies called to me. No, she said I would eat and snack because something about food made me happy. I'm with you, sister. And then Tamra in a talking head goes, and then now her boobs are out constantly. She's always wearing tight things. I don't know if it's just the influence from Ryan. I remember hearing that what he really likes is tits on a stick. Classic Tamra. And then Tamra's like, Jen's pretty much that. Oh, it's almost like a young Tamra Judge or a Tamra Barney, right? In the scene, Jen goes, Tamra, where did I show you any different friendship? Where did I become a problem for you? And Tamra goes, I think it started becoming a problem when we did go to Cabo and Ryan's like, I'm in love with Jennifer. And I go, she's married. And he's all, I know, but she's going to leave her husband. 2 months prior to that, Will was at our house. Now we're looking like assholes because we're hanging out with the boyfriend and Eddie's like, I feel dirty. And then Tamra's like, go into the bathtub. There's a camera guy to film us taking a sexy bath. I like Eddie going, I feel dirty. But Shannon's like kind of disgusted with this conversation. In a talking head, Shannon rightfully goes, Tamra, can you look in the mirror? Because you had an affair with Eddie when you were married to Simon. Now, listen, Shannon nails that. But it's frustrating because where I would have loved Shannon to nail that is in this scene. I wish Shannon had opened her mouth and said that direct talking head quote in this scene. That would have been a good scene. Now, Tamra goes, I'm sorry, Jen, for questioning you. No, Jen tells Tamra, I'm sorry for questioning you. And Tamra goes, I'm sorry for showing the picture and it was wrong of me. And Gina goes, I feel like this is good. You know, you guys are talking. And then Jen goes, can I see the picture? And Gina's like, yeah, let's put the picture in the bed, you know? And then Tamra pulls out her phone and she's like, what was I probably being shady? Yeah, I was. Yeah. And shows her the picture. And then Jen goes, oh, it's a disgusting picture. I mean, and Tamra's like, well, it's not the best picture of me either. And Gina's like, it's honestly not the best picture of either of you, you know? And Shannon has to put on her glasses. She's like, I can't see the photo. And then Jen goes, why do you go there, Tamra? That's such bullshit. I mean, if Evie did that to one of her girlfriends at 14, I'd be like, you're a little bitch. You showed this picture because you have low self-esteem, because you are so insecure. So you had to find some photo of me to pass around our girlfriends that makes you feel better. Now, the thing that sucks about that is Jen said that in a talking head when she should have said it directly to Tamra. Tamra goes, I apologize. It was a shitty thing for me to do. And Jen goes, I hear that. I do hear that. But I don't feel like there's a new version. I actually just feel like I'm myself for the first time in 47 years. I think the problem is you don't like this version. You don't like this me. And Tamra's like, no, that's not true. I actually do like that you're so much stronger now and have more of an opinion and you have a voice now. I actually love that. And Jen's like, it doesn't feel like you do. And Tamra's like, it's not, listen, I just told you I was pissed off at you because you kept fucking poking at me, Jen. When I apologize, nobody wants to accept it, Tamra says. They just want to fight back with me. Oh my God, Tamra, you're such a professional victim. And then Tamra goes, what else do you want me to say? And Jen goes, I want you to mature. I'm telling you, I'm sorry. What do you want, blood? And yells, her classic Tamra yell. You didn't accept the apology immediately, so now I'm going to yell at my cowboy hat. What do you want, blood? And then Shannon's finally like, you know what, Tamra? Let Shannon Storms get in here. You don't want to take accountability for what you do. You go low. You go so low when you're mad. So low. And we all need to say, it's okay. Tamra can go low because that's just who she is. I don't go that low. who is Gina? Gina doesn't go that low. Jen doesn't go that low. But you do. And Tamra goes, oh, you just do it behind everybody's back because you don't want people to know. And Shannon goes, I like you, Tamra. And Tamra's like, oh, it sounds like it. I have reservations, Tamra, because you and I have been like this. And all the time, tears. I miss you. I love you. And Tamra's like, how about the 10 years that I've been there for you, Shannon? For your divorce and all the other things that you've gone through. And then Shannon's like, you bitched about it. You said I sucked the life out of you. And Tamra's like, you do. And Shannon's like, you have not been. And now she's pointing with the hand. You have not been in my life for a year. And I've never been better. And Gina goes, no, don't take that, Shannon, no. Shannon, no. I've never been better without you in my life. Without you in my life. And Tamra's like, well, I'm happy for you. That's good. I don't know if you realize how hard last year was. Because there was not one time where you didn't come after me. Tamra goes, I was hurt. I thought we were so close. Apparently it's just fun to call me a drunk and a fuck and an alcoholic and have another drink every single time you see me. And Tamra goes, I mean, I don't want to go backwards, but you would drink and you would say things that were not great about people. And Shannon's like, okay. And then Tamra goes, I mean, even Gina said she's concerned about your drinking right now. And Gina's like, oh, who, me? Oh, shit, if I could just be back with Travis and his huge nuts. Oh, man. Oh, Tamra. And Gina's like, well. And Gina's like, what do you mean? And Gina's like, I worry about you. What the fuck? Are we not seeing something like about Shannon being a fall down drunk this season? Because we saw it from Tamra. I'm just whatever. And that's where we end it. Boom. To be continued. ... Next time on The Real Housewives of Orange County. And we see, I think, Heather and Emily and Gretchen dancing in West Hollywood with the boys. And then we see Gretchen in the car with Emily and Heather saying Tamra tried to be a singer. And Emily's like, when did Tamra go to a music studio? And then Gretchen says, when she banged, and they bleep it out. And then Slade's on the phone and Slade goes, the two of them started messing around and they forgot they were recording. So whatever, there's Tamra dirt from Gretchen and Slade. And then Shannon looking like a hot mess, like teary-eyed. She's like, I grew up in a bit of chaos. And Tamra goes, this stuff is buried. I'm well aware. And then Tamra goes, Jesus Christ, anytime I say anything, you jump at my throat. And she walks off. I'm not going to even try with her anymore. And Shannon just going, we did it, folks. We made it to the end of the episode. That was a hard one, but I think it was very goofy. I hope people got some laughs. Okay, we did it. We're at the weekend. Thank God we got through this week. It's the weekend. Eat something good, drink something great. Tell people you love them now more than ever. Don't fight. I mean, let's not to fight. Try to stay off social media this weekend. And we'll be back on Monday with an all-new So Bad It's Good Pop Culture Roundup with Sophie Ross. We'll be putting out some Patreon episodes this weekend. So if you want more, patreon.com/So Bad It's Good. If you like the show, leave it 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And that is it, folks. Thank God we're done. Bye.